Hello out there. We're coming at you with another remote Kinstretch offering. Today we're going to be working on some reps for shoulder CARs, but also some mobilization for that hip and lower back kind of complex. It's tough to peel that apart, so we're going to get into it. So I want you to actually start in tall kneeling or standing position. We'll show tall kneeling, but standing works just as well. We're just going to get the spine moving. So go ahead and grab your shoulders. Brace your upper body, feel some muscular effort going on, and then start peeling your spine forward into flexion. Really try to segment, feeling your neck open up, then your upper back open into stretch. Pause when you get right to the midpoint on your back and go ahead and squeeze your glutes nice and tight so your hips are going to resist motion, and keep peeling your spine forward, trying to find a stretch sensation even in the lumbar spine. Once you feel that, go ahead and rotate your shoulders off to the right, not letting your pelvis follow. As you finish your rotation, you're going to naturally start moving into a lateral flexion of your spine. Let that smoothly connect into extension of your spine, trying to contract where you were just stretching. From that extension shape, rotate to the right. Really wring it out and let that natural rotation smoothly become a lateral reflection, not reflection, but flexion. And then round forward into forward flexion. Go ahead, pause here, take a breath to brace your abs, squeeze your butt tighter, and let's go off to the left now. Big twist. Let that smoothly become a lateral flexion. Feel as though you're between two panes of glass before you start to extend. Contracting even more in that upper back area. Start to twist to the right. Laterally flex to the right. And round forward. Very nice. Okay, come up for air. We're just going to do one more rep here. And on this second rep, I want you to hunt out feelings of stretch everywhere that you can. All right? So round forward. That feeling of stretch should present itself from the base of your skull all the way down to your tailbone. That's your goal. So take a moment to really search out that stretch sensation. Good. Now once you're there, start twisting to the right, wringing it out, and try to feel a stretch somewhere from your outside hip all the way across your body, like you're really wringing out your torso. Let that start to move into lateral flexion, and look for the stretch down the left side of your body, through your ribs. As you start to extend, the stretch should present on the front of your torso. Then a big twist. Let that become lateral flexion, keeping your upper body on and strong. Let that lateral flexion smoothly round forward into forward flexion. Good. Try to find that low back stretch here. So we are finishing where we started, and then let's go off to the left now. Big twist. Smoothly becoming lateral flexion. Looking for that stretch on the opening side of your body. Extend. Look for the stretch from your belly button to your sternum. And then a big twist to the right. Lateral flexion to the right, really feeling your shoulders start to come into line as you laterally flex, and then rounding forward into flexion, hunting out that lower back stretch again. Good, very nice. Shake it out, let your body relax, okay? And we're gonna work scapula in just a little different way. I'm gonna have Hannah turn around so that you can see her scapula on the ribs, okay? And just go ahead and make two fists and push them down to the floor. Okay, now keep that tension up, almost like you're trying to reach your fist 1 millimeter further than your length of your arms, and use that active effort to slide your shoulder blades together towards the spinal column. Okay, and then without letting your hands move forward, slide your shoulder blades forward. Good, keep reaching your fists down to the floor as your scapula slide towards each other and away from each other, or towards your spine and away from your spine. Good. Another 15 seconds. Can you invest in more active effort towards the floor? Can you try to cramp some muscles down the back of your arm that help keep your elbow straight? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Good. All right. And then again, invest in punching your fist towards the floor, and really feel this time that your hands are not going to go forward or back at all, because we're going to now work on the up. So start shrugging your shoulder blades up, Try to go as far as you can, feel what shortens, and then start to reach fist towards the floor and stretch out what was just shortening by your neck. Up and down here, 25 more seconds. And as you get a feel for this, try to notice if your scapula is pitching forward and back, or if you're able to keep it cemented on your ribs and just rotating up and shrugging, rotating down and anti-shrugging. Great stuff. 10 more seconds, team. Watch out for your ribs to try to flare or your spine to try to change shape. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Great. That'll set us up well for our shoulder work. So now we're going to get into a straddle base position. Face off this way so they can see your shoulder a bit. Scooch towards the wall a little bit too, if you would. There we go. All right, perfect. So then from here, you're going to want to grab a towel or a thick book or a few books, just something that you can place on the floor in front of you and really lean your hands into. Some people do just fine putting their hands on the floor, but I find just having that extra little brace will help you contract a little bit tighter. All right. So from here, you're going to start by pressing that object into the ground with both hands. Good. And really lean on it until you feel your plank muscles turn on and assert themselves. So if I came over and tried to steal that towel, Hannah would be too strong. Okay? Now with that, you're going to use that brace to try to start windshield wipering your feet wider out to the side. Just take a moment and really pull your feet out as wide as you can. Imagine there's a little buddy over here trying to push your feet in and you're resisting, and then relax, and you should find a little bit more of a stretch sensation in your inner thigh. You might not yet, but that's what we're working on, is trying to open up that inner thigh. All right, then from here, anchor your left arm into the floor and reach your right arm out, right out in front of you, shoulder height, and cut it all the way across your torso so you feel your chest tissue. Take a moment and feel that chest tissue nice and contracted, and then as you lift your arm, that contraction is going to spill over to the top of your shoulder so that when you hit end range, you can start rotating with control and start reaching behind you. Now we're looking for some pretty high intensity shoulder CARs here today, which is going to encourage your torso to follow your arm, so you have to work even harder to push your down arm into the floor. Go ahead, reverse the rep. Reaching high behind you, externally rotate at that end range point, and keep externally rotating as you sweep your arm up behind your ear and across your torso. Great. If you're tired from just that one rep, you're doing it right. Okay, anchor that hand down to the floor now. We're going to alternate to the other side. Super strong brace in this arm. Cut the other arm across your chest. Feel your chest tissue contract and spill that effort over to the top of the shoulder. When you hit an end range stop here, start internally rotating your upper arm, reaching back behind you, feeling that contraction now spilling into the back of the shoulder, and now even into the base of the scapula. If your shoulder joint makes some cracking and popping, that's all good stuff, so long as it doesn't accompany any pain. Sweeping your arm back around, all the way up behind your ear, and then all the way across your torso. Great. Once you get back down, you can pin that hand to the floor to join the other arm, and we're going to focus on the legs just a little bit. So you can see here with this angle that Hannah, especially if you roll the thighs out, Hannah has this great like angled position into the floor. And I want you to take advantage of that by pushing both heels down into the ground, but also inward just a bit. So it's as if you're slicing your heels into the floor. This is going to be our pales contraction for this straddle position. So bracing your torso even tighter, try to start pulling your heels towards each other with 50% of your effort. Now 70% of your effort. Now 80% of your effort, and hold it there. You're trying to pull the floor together with your heels and train the tissue in your inner thigh area. 5, 4, 3, 2, stay super invested in your arms, and now do the opposite with your heels. Pull your heels apart wider, try to cramp both butt cheeks at the same time, keep your hands heavy. 5, 4, 3, sweep them a little wider, and relax your leg effort. Great. You can let your arms relax for a moment. Take a breath and just appreciate any increased stretch sensation that you might find in your inner thigh area. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but Hannah's bending her knees just a little bit is a great strategy to save the knees and let the stretch and the work happen more in the muscle belly, in the middle of the tissue. Okay? All right, so let's go back to shoulder. Anchor through your left arm, heavy into the pillow or whatever you're using. Right arm cuts across. Okay? Feel that chest tissue. Now just hold here and use that chest contraction to actually open up a stretch on the outside of the shoulder. Take a moment and try to feel that lengthening side. Now as you start to sweep the arm up, feeling contraction here, look for the stretch on the underside of the arm. As you start to roll your bicep behind you, look for the stretch to present in your chest and collarbone area as the back of the shoulder shortens and contracts. So on this rep, same as last time, but now just a little added awareness of the lengthening part of the joint. All the way down. Check that your other arm is an anchor and reach back behind you. Contracting the back of your armpit to stretch your chest as you sweep around. Sweeping all the way up and over. Cutting behind your ear, continuing to externally rotate even as you cut across your torso. Good. Anchor down through that right arm. Cut across. Look for that stretch on the outside of your shoulder, and then as you start to come up, feel that stretched area shift to more the armpit. And then as you start to roll your bicep and reach behind you, that stretch will change position as well, more into your chest tissue. Really try to actively open up the front of the shoulder and the front of your chest. Good. Don't ask me what the back of your chest is. I don't know what it is. Okay, reaching all the way back. Really contracting the back of the shoulder. Going just slow enough that you can pick up some of these new sensations that will present themselves. There you go. Great. Okay, pin that arm down. Reach your hands heavy into the floor. Really anchor down. We're just going to do one more set of this Pales Rails for your legs, your straddle position. So start pinning your heels down gently, just about 10% effort. And then add an angular effort, like they're trying to drive through the floor towards each other. Cut the mat, and then ramp that effort up to 50%. 60%, 70%, 80%, and 5 seconds at your greatest safe effort. Really try to pull the floor together. 3, 2, keep your anchors super strong, and now rails contract. Try to pull your feet wider apart. Try to squeeze your glutes tighter. Try to increase the sensation of stretch in your inner thigh. 5, 4, heavy hands help you here. 3, 2, 1, and melt it away. Good. Just take one moment to take some breaths in this new position. We just worked hard to achieve a new end range position, and you got to let your nervous system become a little bit accustomed to that new range if you want to own it. Just taking some deep breaths, micro-adjusting in what feels good, and then let's make our way out of that position. All right, so we will get back to some hip training in a moment, but we're going to give the hips a rest. And I'm going to have you come into a prone position, so down on your stomach. And go ahead and cross your arms. Forehead can go on your hands. Now, if this doesn't work for your shoulders, works just fine to place a towel underneath the forehead and rest your arms by your side, okay? But for what we're going to start with is actually trying to articulate the spine just a little bit here. So let's go ahead and push the feet down into the floor. Feel that increase the tension in your abs and your legs. And then meet that pressure by pushing your elbows into the floor and your hands, okay? Now, in this position on the floor, you're going to have very little articulation in your spine, so just follow along with my cueing and see what you can feel here. Start trying to press your ribs towards the ceiling. So if you peek at the camera, you'll see where I'm cueing Hannah to round her spine. And then keep using your feet and your elbows to round the mid-back towards the ceiling. And now as we start working to the lower back, you really might not find any motion, but you should feel your ab wall screaming with effort. Okay? And then pause. Keep pushing down with your feet and your elbows and start reaching your belly button towards the floor now instead. Towards the floor with your bottom ribs. Towards the floor with the bottom of your sternum, the middle of your sternum, and then even try to reach your collarbones up towards your chin. Again, it's going to be an extremely small motion. All right, let's do that a couple more times. Check in on your elbows and your feet are heavy. Start rounding your spine away from the floor, from the top down. Nice. And then the ribs start to round. The lower part of the ribs, then the lower back, and maybe the belly button even starts to round away from the floor. Pause here, keep your tension. Use that tension to now reach belly button towards the floor. Towards the floor with your mid-back. Your thoracic spine. Really trying to feel contraction in the muscles that reach your spine more towards the floor. Good. Take a breath. Final rep here. Elbows heavy, feet heavy. Use that heaviness to round your spine. Can you open up the back of the spine as you contract the part of your body that's towards the floor? So you're contracting the front of your torso as you round the back of your spine. Good. Working all the way down your spine, stopping just short of where your quads might come off the floor. And then pause. Reach your belly button towards the ground. Try to overextend. So really contract your lower back muscles, then your mid-back muscles, your upper back muscles, and all the way up to the base of your neck. Okay. Now for some of you folks, extension in your spine is a little touchy, so you're going to do this next round in this same setup. The cueing is going to be the same. But if it feels all right, you're going to come up to a Sphinx position where your elbows prop up under your shoulders, okay? And make sure that your elbows aren't too much wider than your shoulders. So make sure that they're nice and narrow, okay? And also that they're not too far out in front of you or too far under your ribs. We don't want to piss off that shoulder joint, okay? So just check in here, take a couple breaths, and notice if this feels sketchy to you. If it does, you're going to go back down, forehead to the floor, all right? And then let's do our 3 reps of spinal articulation from here. So heavy hands, heavy elbows, meet heavy foot pressure. And then use that pressure the whole time as we start curling chin to neck. Look for a stretch in the back of your neck, and let that stretch spill over into the very top of your spinal column. Rounding where you can see my finger on Hannah's spine. Rounding. Using your arms and your legs to try to, again, open the back of your spine as you contract the front of your body. Again, stopping just short of where you're going to peel your quads off the floor. You can see Hannah fighting for that contraction. Then pull with your elbows, keep your feet heavy, and start reaching your belly button forward. Reaching your mid-back forward. Reaching your sternum forward, as if you could stretch your sternum longer. Reaching your collarbones up towards the ceiling, and finally stretching the front of your neck. Okay? We're going to do 2 more. We're going to push the arms as we flex. We're going to pull the arms as we extend. So go ahead, push with your arms, push with your feet. Start flexing from the top of the neck. Looking for that stretch. Rounding your upper back, using that arm push to help you round through your spine. Trying to articulate opening of each of these segments. Good. When you get to the very base of your spine, pause, pull with your elbows instead. Nice. And then start reaching forward, extending your belly button more forward and your mid-back. Work your way up your spine segment by segment and look for more contraction in these muscles that line your spine. Can you feel more contraction in your upper back than is usual for you? Great stuff. Final rep. Feet get heavy, hands push away, chin curls into the neck, Final rep. This should be pretty challenging for your abs, so I really want you to work for it. There's not going to be anything easy necessarily about this exercise. It's going to be high contraction effort. Really feeling your ab wall, trying to shorten as you try to lengthen the back. Then pause, pull with your elbows, and reach your belly button more forward than it's usually able to reach. Really reaching, there you go. Really reaching, trying to overextend your spine. Reach your collarbones up to the ceiling, and finish with your chin reaching. Nice work. Okay, go ahead and relax that, and let's get back to some hip work. So I'm going to actually have Hannah just go into quadruped real quick. All right, and let's just extend the left leg straight out. All right, and you're going to leave that left leg on the floor, almost like a half of a plank. Okay, so really heavy with that foot, heavy with both hands, and then just bend the down knee so that the heel comes off the floor. And we're just going to explore rotation of this hip joint back and forth from this position to start. Okay, this is usually the most accessible position to feel a capsular car, but it still gives you a lot of stable contractive effort in the rest of your body. So Hannah's really braced here and using that brace to articulate only the hip. If you aren't braced, then you're going to feel a little bit more wiggle going on in the rest of your spine, and we want to mitigate the wiggle. Good. Just take 5 more seconds here, exploring how much range you have to rotate on this day, and relax. Good. Give your wrists a shake if you need, and then let's extend that right leg. Brace like crazy through that foot, pushing into the floor, hands push, and then the other leg starts to rotate. 30 seconds. Now, every single capsule rotation that I do, I'm looking for new muscles to volunteer to help me get that 1% more range. So that usually presents as a complete stop, but it's also going to present with a different sensation. So keep looking for that different sensation. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, now come back down into your prone position, face down on the floor, forehead on your hands. I'm just going to grab this towel out of the way for now, and swing your leg out to the side. Doesn't matter which side. Hannah's going to show you this outside leg into our half frog. Might remember this from last week. And you're going to really just take a second and try to open up your inner thigh into a stretch. So slide that knee away from your pelvis. Okay. Now, as we do this, you can see there's a little gap underneath her pelvis on this side. That gap is what we're worried about in terms of unmitigated movement. Yep. Okay. So try to brace against that by making your elbow heavy on that side. You can even make your leg heavy for now and feel what turns on in your abs, in your brace. You need to keep that on, okay? So hold that tension. Don't let your pelvis move, and start rotating your out thigh to lift your heel off the ground. How high can you lift it up? Good. Now you're going to stay braced, stay active, and just tap that heel to the floor, and then right back up. Each rep, trying to get a bit higher. Good. And we're just exploring a little closer to the end range now in this rotational movement. Good. 15 seconds here, keeping that elbow heavy into the floor. The body can be working hard without much motion at all. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten that leg out. Bring this other leg out to the side. Brace your abs nice and tight. Good, and start rotating on this side. Again, making sure that the pelvis isn't diving towards the floor as your heel comes up. Elbows braced. Very nice. Some of that ab work that you were feeling during your spinal extension flexion work can really come into play here to help you keep your spine more still. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Okay, we're going to finish up in quadruped. All right, and again, find that really strong brace through your hands. If you can, curl your toes under. Also, pushing your feet into the floor works. And this time, you're going to pick that left leg out to the side as far as you can, almost like that half frog, but obviously you're off the floor now. And try to really put some effort into that outside hand to help you lift the knee a bit higher, okay? Now you need to imagine that that knee is pinned to a target and it's not going to move as we start to rotate the thigh here. So the heel comes up like half frog, but then we also have space to reach the heel towards the floor. Up and down. Good. This is more of a core activity than the work on the floor, so keep the rest of your body on tension, doing your best to not let your thigh bone move up and down, just rotate in the hip socket. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Good. And then we're going to finish up on the other side. So really brace your torso. Lift that knee out as wide as you can, almost trying to stretch your inner thigh. Keep the kneecap still in space and start rotating your thigh. The thigh might try to run up towards your stomach as you reach your heel to the floor. Don't let it happen. The thigh might try to run away behind you as you lift your heel to the ceiling. Don't let that happen. Good. Just exploring how much can you rotate this high tension position. You got 8 seconds, team. Good. Keep those hands heavy. 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day.